Greetings, scholars. Barker here. Today, you are going to learn how to annotate and do a close read. And as a bonus, you might discover how cool reading is and do better in school. So, is this you when you are trying to read? You read the same thing over and over again because you keep zooming out. I get it. I hear this a lot. I also see this a lot, actually. You just fall asleep when you read. I get it. Or you actually do read, but after you've read, you really have no idea what you just read. So I have some things to tell you. There are a few things you can do to make your reading more enjoyable and also to help you get more out of it. So get ready to take some notes, however you do that. Look at this, we don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to pretend to take notes so the teacher doesn't call on you anymore. Teacher can't see you, right? Okay, so here's the deal. Reading is supposed to be interactive. Two-way, not just like when you're watching a movie, the movie's happening and you're over here. Reading is interactive. You're involved. How can you be more involved? Well, you can read with a pencil in your hand, like I always do, and annotate. And if you, like our friend Keanu here, do not know what annotate means, here it is. While you're reading, mark in your book or in Post-it notes if you are a person who doesn't think that you should write in your book. Personally, I write in all my books, but that's just me. So when you're reading, mark in your book or on a Post-it note whenever you don't understand something in the story. What happened? I don't get this. Circle it. Put a big old question mark in the margin or on your Post-it note. When a new character is introduced, I always, when a new character comes into the story, circle that character. And if they are described in detail, I highlight that as well, because that might be important later. And it helps me to know the character. Whenever something interesting happens in the plot, mark it. So, because if it's catching your attention, it's probably important, and you'll be able to get back to it more easily if it's marked. Or if you read a passage you really like, basically just mark anything that stands out to you. These are pictures of my actual Hamlet text. I loved studying Hamlet. I love teaching Hamlet. We're going to use Hamlet for our learning exercise today. But this is a really great job of annotating. Thank you. Okay. Second thing you can do is look for patterns in the text. Patterns such as repetition. It shows up more than once, right? Contradictions, ideas or situations that just like go against each other. Similarities, things that are the same or almost the same. So I'll show you some examples of repetition in Hamlet. Claudius, Prince Hamlet's new father and also the new king, says to Prince Hamlet, "Why are you still so gloomy? The cloud hanging over you." Maybe because my dad just died and you, like a minute ago, and you married my mom, but that's just a guess. Again, Claudius asks him to please give up this useless mourning of yours and start thinking of me as your new father. Theme here, what are you crying about? What are you so sad about? Stop being sad. His own mother says to him, "My dear Hamlet, stop wearing these black clothes and be friendly to the king. Stop wearing these black clothes. Stop being sad." Poor Hamlet. Okay, so here's some examples of a contradiction in Hamlet. So in this first picture, we see that King Hamlet is muerto. Here's the new king, the guy holding the goblet. That's the new king, Claudius, and he's honoring his dead brother. But the play actually opens with King Hamlet. Wait, what? Is he a ghost? Or maybe the king isn't really dead. Maybe it's a prank. We don't know. But it alerts us that something's going on in the story. Here's an example of a similarity in Hamlet. This dude right here, this is Fortinbras. He recently lost his father, who was the king of Norway. He was killed by King Hamlet. Prince Fortinbras is out to avenge his father's death. Sound familiar? Here's a hint. Prince Hamlet's father was killed, and the whole play is about him deciding whether or not to avenge his father's death, which coincidentally is also the storyline in Sons of Anarchy and Lion King. Both excellent. Keep your eye out. Number 3, keep your eye out for foreshadowing, the warning or hint of a future event, which is not the same as fortune telling. It's much more subtle. Here's an example of foreshadowing in Hamlet. Horatio is Prince Hamlet's BFF, and he says, "In what particular thought to work, I know not, but in this gross and scope of mine opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state." In English, that means, I don't know exactly how to explain this, but I have a general feeling this means bad news for our country. And Horatio is right about that. Let me just tell you. So you might not realize that there is foreshadowing on the first read, which brings us to our last step. Read it again. And no, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. So here's a recap. Annotate. Mark in your book or on your post-it notes. Look for patterns like repetition, contradictions, similarities. 3, watch for foreshadowing. Number 4, read it again. You never know what you might find between the pages of a book. You don't know what you might discover if you really enjoy reading. You might find out that you understand it and you want to read it more. You're not falling asleep while you're reading anymore. You're engaged. You get it. Right? Thanks for watching.